I've opened Excel 5-3 for those of you who are following along, so we're getting started now. We are going to be working from the Managers tab to start with. So I'm on Managers right now, and I'm on Excel page 123. Those of you who are going to do this with me. So we're going to select B4 and use the flash fill on the Data tab to enter all of our information in B. So I've switched to my Data tab up here. I'm in B4. It recognizes how I've already got these names. And so when I do my flash fill, it should grab the names right out of here. And it does. So it's just grabbing out to these email addresses and recognizing the name sequence. I'm going to move over to D2 and use a text function to convert the first letter of departments to uppercase, then copy the formula into D2. And so I'm going to go to Formulas tab under Text, and I'm just going to use proper, and it should capitalize. Where are we at? And then let me see. We want this in uppercase, so we're going to hit OK, and it should change all these to proper. Then I'm just filling down using the fill handle, and it should recognize the proper setting. I'm going to move to E2 and use a text function to do uppercase. So this should be pretty simple, doing the same thing. Going to text, I'm going to go to upper, and then select the cell. And it looks like we want to grab C2 again. So you can always hit Enter, you can hit the check mark or OK. And so they should be all uppercase, and now I'm going to copy, use the fill handle, E3 to E9. Looks like we're going to repeat for lowercase, so I'm going to come over here to F2, text, go lower, again selecting C2, fill down. Next, we're going to do substitute. So next, we're going to come to the text function and do replace. And we want to, I'm following the steps here. I'm in letter F again. Old text should be F2. Let's see. And new text is going to be F2. Wait. Old text operations. Old text is operations, new text is IT. So we should hit OK. Let's do. We're going to use switch it and go back to substitute, and then get our text and old text. Our text is here. Our old text is substitute, or excuse me, operations. We're doing the substitute feature. New text is IT. There we go. And that should get us good. And then when we fill down, anything that says operations should now be switched to IT. So again, I switched it to substitute, and then it works. So if you haven't got a save in yet, let's save. All right, so that's essentially all those are a summary of step 1. If you're following on 123, I am going to go ahead and move to step 2. Sum a data range based on conditions. So now we're switching to the service sheet. I'm going to zoom out so we can see everything a little better. This one people can get a little confused on from the cell referencing going to other cells. So you got to kind of watch closely. So I'm on the service sheet again, still on the same file. I'm going to go to B20. And I'm going to use a feature called count if. So essentially this is counting if there is, based on how many cells have the information it's asking for. So we want to find out how many employees have a rating of 5 or higher. So I'm going to go into logical. Let's see. Count if, usually you're in logical you'll get your if, but the count if, let's go to statistical and go down to count if. You can also search to find them. So the range of data we're looking for is that employees have a rating of 5. So this is one of those things, it's kind of like a story problem. So you got to figure out what are they talking about. They want the employee ratings, so that's the range. So I'm doing D6 to D14. And then it's looking for criteria, means what exactly is it looking for? It's looking for employees that have a rating of 5. So we'll do equals 5. And then it's going to count how many employees have that ranking of 5. So then we hit OK, and it comes up with 4. Now I'm going to go to B21. And again, this is one of those things that everyone gets backwards when they're doing this. So far everyone I've helped on this one had the data backwards. So that was the common mistake on this one. And I'm on number 2, letter C on Excel page 123. So I'm going to B21 this time. And I want to do average if. So I'm going to more function, statistical, average if. And again, I'm on the formulas tab. And this time we want to average the salaries of those with the rating of 5. So again, we have to grab the rating, and this is what everybody does backwards because they want to go ahead and get the salaries. So I'm doing the range, and then the criteria is going to be equals 5. And then they find the average of their salary. So then I grab the range of their salary. Then I can hit OK. And I should have an accurate number there. And you can look at the sample on the bottom page to match your data. So next I'm going to go into B22. And I'm going to do a sum if. So it's going to add the total of those salaries of the high-ranking people. So again, I'm going statistical. Come down here to sum if. So sum if will appear in math, and if you ever get lost, you can just search for the functions. When you hit insert, it allows you to search. So sum if is not in statistical, it's down in math. So we're going to add using the same setup and criteria. So again, I need their rating. So that is, oops, my rating is my range for my criteria. And then the range I'm adding is my salary. And again, to help you guys out, this is what anybody who's had an error, they do these two things backwards. They do the criteria and the sum range backwards. So we should hit OK, and then we know the total salaries, and that matches our check number here. It has us practice by changing some of our number formatting, so if you need to do that. And it has us turn off the decimals. So we come down here and highlight these two and practice coming up here back to home and just come back to number format with the comma and then turn off the decimals. That moves us to number 3, so I'm going to get a save in right there, and I'm going to Excel page 124. On page 124, we're switching to summary sheet, so make sure you get to the right sheet. And I might zoom out just a tad here. And I'm going to click in B4, and this is actually a pretty simple thing. It's just doing referencing across sheets, which can be super valuable the more data you use, because this is grabbing information off other sheets, so you don't have to have like different files everywhere. So I'm going to come up here to the top right. I'm still on the Home tab, and just hit Auto Sum, because it's just going to add. And so I'm going to go, and I want F15 on the service and accounting sheet. So I'm going to click in service, and I'm going to locate F15. And I'm going to hold down the Shift key and hit the accounting sheet also. Then if I look in the toolbar, it says sum of service to accounting sheets, cell F15. The mistake I'd say at least 50% of everybody makes is they want to go back to the original sheet to finish the formula. At this point, you want to hit the check mark or enter, and it finishes the formula for you. And then you should see it kick you back to the salary summary sheet, and now it's added from those other sheets. And like I said, the main mistake is everybody clicks back to this and then it goofs up the formula. I'm going to go ahead and just save that real quick. Now I'm on number 4 on page 124. I'm going to check formula for errors. So I'm going to go to service sheet. I'm going to go to I6. And this is another one of those ones where a couple people were trying to do something in cell 16. I'm on I6. We're going to use if error to display an error in the event that the formula shows an error of F6 divided by F15. So I'm finding a percentage of total. So I'm going to enter the formula F6 divided by F15. Actually, we need to do if error feature. So I'm going to come back to Formulas tab, and I'm going to go to Logical. So if you're with me, I'm on the Formulas tab, Logical, if error. So the formula is F6 divided by F15, and you can click on the cells. So F6 divided by F15. If it is an error, we're going to put in the text error. And so I'm going to hit OK, and then it asks me to copy that down. And I have all these errors. The reason they have us do this is they want to test using the absolute value. So I'm coming back up here in step D and fix it. So the denominator is what we're dividing by. So I'm going to come back up into F15, and I'm going to hit F4 on the keyboard. And that got a little confusing for everybody because they were wanting to click the cell F4, but we're using F4 function on the keyboard, which is to create this in the absolute address. We can also type in the dollar signs if we wanted to do it by hand. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to re-drag this down. And now when Excel recalculates the formula, it's going to be, each one's going to divide correctly by F15. At that point, we're going to save again. So we're motoring along right here. So now I'm in step 5, construct formulas using named ranges, and I'm still on page 124. So I'm also double check you're on the service sheet. I'm going to highlight the range C6 to C14. C6 to C14. I'm still in the formulas section. I'm going to come up to define name. And the name I'm going to use is review date. Remember to have the underscore. In my scope, I'm going to limit to the service worksheet. So I'm going to switch to service. Then I'm going to select OK. Moving on to letter B, in cell E6, I'm going to enter equals, and then I'm going to come up to use in formula, and I'm going to select review date plus 183. So it looks like you have your review date 6 months after your job starts. Then I'm going to hit enter. And so it gives me a date when the review is. I'm going to use a fill handle from here for step C and drag down. And that gives me the next review. Now it says use a name manager to add the comment date of last review. So here we want to add some information to the name manager to add date of last review. So we go to up here to the name manager and do this highlight review date and define this again. So I'm going to hit the name manager and it should recognize that I have names set up. And it recognizes review date, and I'm going to edit. And it just wants us to add a comment here, date of last review. And I'm going to select OK and close. Now I'm on number 6 on page 124. We're going to work with the if function, so I'm going to go to G6. And essentially, we're going to determine if somebody's qualifies for a bonus. So we're going to G6, correct? I'm going to go to logical, and I'm going to select if. And the test is going to be, let's see, it gives us a formula here. So it's going to say a D6 is equal to 5. If the value is true, it wants us to have a bonus. So our salary times, which is shift 8, 0.05. So you get a 5% bonus of your salary if you qualify based on your job performance. And if it's false, you just don't get anything. So we put in 0. And I'm going to select OK. Then I'm going to tally bonuses for everybody. And then it wants us to go ahead and add AutoSum to find out how much we're paying out in bonuses. So I'm going to hit the AutoSum button. It should recognize all my bonuses, so I'm going to hit enter. So I have my total of my bonuses. Make sure you get a save in, which moves us to step 7. We're going to build a logical formula with the AND function. So we're coming up here to H6. And this time we're going to use AND. So you can type it in or from the sample, or you can come up here to your logical. I'll select AND. The first thing I want is G6 greater than 0, means they earned a bonus. The second thing is if B6 is greater than 6, then they qualify. And then we hit enter. And it's if they qualified to get their bonus or not. Because they had to have a professional development exceeding 6 hours to qualify for their bonus. So they had 2 tiers. They had to earn a bonus through coursework and then achieve it through their sales. So make sure you save. And let's see here. We're moving on to number 8 now on page 125, and we're actually going to switch to the loan sheet. So again, we're doing the payment function again, it looks like. So I'm on the loan sheet. I'm going to click in B9. This might throw you off a little from the last one we practiced because it was horizontal and now we're going up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and use the payment function. I'm going to come up here, financial, PMT, just remember that's always payment. Our rate, we always divide by 12 to get it in terms of a year. Number of periods is going to be B6. Present value is how much we borrowed, and we're going to set that at negative. And then select B4. Future value, 0. That's when it's paid off. So I'm going to select OK, and it should match the sample. Next, we're just doing simple calculation. So we're going to do equals the monthly payments, which is B9, times how many months we paid, which is B6. So that's just multiplication. Next, total interest is how much we paid in total payments versus what we borrowed. So I'm going to do B10 minus B4. And so it cost us a little over $12,000 to borrow that loan. From there, go ahead and save, and you're all ready to submit. And again, that concluded on page 125. And use the checklist so you make sure you get each thing I'm looking for individually, because essentially we need copies of each sheet that we modified and the formula view.